The woman lay on the ground covered in blood with a total of 33 stab wounds on her body. Each stab seemed like an outburst of some kind of frenzied emotion, and the last one even went straight into her pelvis. Who could hate her so much to commit such a brutal murder? And who could kill and then leave so calmly without leaving a trace? Next, let me take you into this mysterious film, Reptile. At the start of the movie, a man holds his girlfriend in his arms, trying to get intimate, but she refuses his advance. Will is a bit disappointed, but he chooses to respect his girlfriend's wishes. That afternoon, Will has an important speech, but his girlfriend, who promised to attend, never shows up. Will calls her, but no one answers. When he gets home and sees his girlfriend lying in bed, Will asks why she didn't go to the speech. Summer explains that she fell asleep, so she didn't get the call. Her nonchalant attitude makes Will a bit angry, so he grabs a pillow and goes downstairs, planning to sleep on the couch for the night. The next day, while cleaning the house, she finds a snakeskin behind a flower pot. Summer gets a bit scared and quickly calls her boyfriend. Will answers coldly, saying he's busy, and then hangs up. Summer doesn't pay much attention to his neglect and instead sends a message to another man. Meanwhile, someone gets out of a car at the front door. Will is busy until evening and finally comes home. He sees his girlfriend's shoes right at the door, but no matter how he calls her name, she doesn't respond. Will immediately senses something is wrong and rushes upstairs to check. When he enters the room, he finds his girlfriend lying on the floor, covered in blood, already lifeless. Detective Tom and Captain Allen quickly arrive at the scene. According to the investigation, the victim is named Summer, a real estate agent. She has as many as 33 stab wounds, and the killer didn't take the weapon. It's still lodged in her body. Tom carefully examines the scene, but doesn't find any valuable clues. But during nearby interviews, a neighbor provides the police with a lead. According to the neighbor, before the incident, she saw a man get out of a car in front of the villa. Because she was far away, she couldn't make out his face or the license plate. She only saw the man wearing a hat, walking with a slight limp. While talking to the neighbor, Tom notices a scruffy man outside the police line. Thinking he's just a bystander, Tom doesn't pay much attention. Tom then checks the surrounding security cameras and finds that their angles aren't ideal. With his girlfriend brutally murdered at home for no reason, Will becomes the prime suspect. Back at the station, Tom immediately starts questioning Will. Will says he's been in a relationship with Summer for over a year. Like most couples, they have laughs and arguments, and they even had a fight the day before the incident. It's been a long relationship with no marriage, which makes Tom quite puzzled. After all, Will is a real estate tycoon with plenty of money. But Will says they aren't married because his girlfriend has a husband. Although she hasn't divorced yet, they've been separated for a long time. As for whether she's still in contact with her ex, Will says he doesn't know. Will's suggestive words make the sharp Tom a bit suspicious. But his answers have no flaws, and even standard lie detector tests show nothing unusual. Will has no signs of a struggle, and no blood belonging to the victim. For now, it seems Will isn't the killer, but his connection to the case can't be ruled out. After all, the person died in his villa, and she was his girlfriend. After collecting Will's DNA, Tom lets him go. Then Tom goes to the coroner to get the details. The autopsy shows Summer was stabbed 33 times, dying from excessive blood loss. The last stab hit her pelvis, and the killer stopped because the knife got stuck in the bone. This is why the killer didn't take the weapon. The coroner finds no fingerprints on the knife, but male semen is detected in Summer's body. Besides the stab wounds, there's no sign of forced sexual assault on Summer. This suggests Summer likely knew the killer and engaged willingly. Additionally, the coroner finds several strands of golden hair that don't belong to Summer. On the victim's palms, there's also some red paint of unknown origin. Back in the office, Tom checks the footage and identifies the killer's car as a 1990 Buick LeSabre. The car's right rear wheel is missing a hubcap. Due to camera angles, only a side view of the car is captured, with no other useful info. But this clue alone isn't enough to identify the driver. With no choice, Tom has to go to Will's house to investigate. He finds a photo of Summer with her ex-husband Sam in her box. Besides that, Tom finds no other useful clues. During the investigation, Will appears very upset. But he gives Tom a strange feeling. Without evidence, Tom can't say anything. Holding the photo, Tom finds Summer's friend Renee. Unfortunately, Renee doesn't know Summer's ex or anyone she might be involved with. Based on all the clues they have, Summer's ex is the prime suspect. Tom also finds that her ex, Sam, has a drug-related criminal record and a peculiar habit of collecting women's hair. To uncover the truth, Tom and his partner go to Sam's address. The police's sudden visit surprises Sam, and he doesn't let them into the house. Upon hearing about Summer's death, Sam's eyes seem a bit distant. Facing the police, he pretends to be calm and says he hasn't contacted Summer for 3 months. He says he went fishing alone by the lake that day, with no one to vouch for him. At this moment, Dan notices red marks on Sam's hands, very similar to the paint on Summer's hands. He wants to check, but Sam refuses, insisting he's not a suspect. Unwilling to say more, Sam simply closes the door. With no crucial evidence, Tom can't force Sam to answer questions. Seeing Sam unwilling, they have no choice but to leave. But the paint on Sam's hands indicates he's indeed a suspect. Since Sam has a criminal record, the police station has his DNA on file. Tom has the lab compare the semen in Summer's body with Sam's DNA. Currently, the clues they've gathered are a bit messy. But lacking key evidence, Tom can't piece together the full crime in a short time. To relax a bit, Tom takes his wife out dancing. The dance hall is full of colleagues from the station, who are chatting about the case while having fun. During this, narcotics cop Wally gives someone a keychain with a logo on it. He says he runs a security consulting company, where retired soldiers and cops provide security advice to wealthy clients. They just need to move their lips and they can get a high payout with almost no risk. Tom doesn't have the money-making brains like Wally. All he can do is solve cases. After the ball, he immediately started analyzing the case again. Summer is a real estate agent, and in 2 years she sold a total of 6 villas. But she didn't get a single commission, which confused Tom a lot. So Tom went to Will again to ask about the commission details, since he owns these 6 properties. However, Will's mom explained that the total commission was $70,000. This money was all used to help Summer buy an investment property. This way Summer wouldn't have to pay taxes, but the money still belonged to her. Based on the information they got, Summer's commission turned into an investment in the property. She wasn't divorced from her ex-husband, so the ex killing her to get the money could barely count as a motive. That night, a man rang the doorbell at Will's house, saying he got the wrong mail. After returning the mail, the man didn't leave. Instead, he started talking about Summer's death. He kept asking Will if he knew him while trying to push into the house. The man's strange words startled Will. He quickly shut the door and blocked him outside. Meanwhile, Tom went to the house Summer sold a year ago. Summer's phone location showed she had been there the day before the incident. Right in front of the house was a church, and the red paint on the wall was the same as on Summer's hands. As Tom pulled out his phone to take photos for evidence, a priest suddenly appeared at the door. After identifying himself as a cop, Tom asked the priest a few questions. The priest said the painting work at the church was all done by volunteers, so there were no regular staff. Looking at the photo in Tom's hand, the priest said he didn't know Sam's ex-husband either. As for that Buick LeSabre, the priest said he had never seen it. The priest's answers left Tom a bit helpless. But the trip wasn't in vain. At least he figured out where the paint on Summer's hands came from. Back home, Tom discussed the case with his wife. His wife looked at the security footage and suddenly said the car wasn't a Buick LeSabre. It was a 90s Chrysler Imperial, because the headlights flip up and down. Based on this clue, Tom and Dan went to the used car market together. After comparison, the getaway car was indeed a Chrysler Imperial. But with no license plate and no street surveillance, they couldn't find the car at all. On the day of Summer's funeral, Will was consoling Summer's family. But he suddenly noticed a shadow at the hallway corner staring at him, and Will immediately chased after it. The shadow moved fast, and after a few corners, Will lost it. After coming out, Will hesitated but eventually went to Tom. He said a few days ago, someone tried to break into his house, and that person was Eli. Years ago, Will's family bought Eli's farm to develop real estate. But after the deal, Eli's father committed suicide. That's why Eli had hated Will's family for years and would occasionally come to cause trouble. Tom acted completely indifferent to what Will said and just told him to be careful. But back at the station, Tom found videos of Eli. At that moment, a colleague handed him a file, Summer's phone records from the past 3 months. The colleague also found that Summer had called the FBI to report drug activity, and the FBI even gave her the DEA's number. However, the DEA's records showed that Summer never called. So this murder was likely related to drugs. Then Tom and another person went to Eli's house, and when they met him, they realized Eli had been near the police line on the night of the incident. Eli knew why the cops were there and immediately said Will's whole family were liars and claimed Will was the killer. Tom didn't know why Eli was so sure, but he neither chose to believe nor to doubt him. Looking at Eli's expression, he seemed to know something hidden. After giving Eli a business card and telling him to stop bothering Will's family, Tom turned and left. Back at the station, Tom went over the case details with several superiors. During this, they bet on whose semen was inside Summer. The officer next to Tom bet on Eli, Tom guessed Will, and only Alan guessed it belonged to Summer's ex. Before the test results came out, Summer's friends suddenly found Tom and overturned all previous testimonies. She knew Summer's ex and knew they had been separated for a long time, but they stayed in contact. and Summer would use her job to mess around with her ex in the houses she was about to sell. The most important thing, Sam was still dealing drugs. Soon, the DNA results came back. The semen inside Summer belonged to Sam. With this confirmed, Tom immediately led a team to make the arrest. To avoid conflict, Tom said they were just taking him to the station for a statement. Sam didn't resist, but asked to use the bathroom, which Tom understood. While waiting, Tom looked at an artwork on the wall made from golden hair. Suddenly, gunshots rang out. Sam had grabbed a colleague's gun. Seeing Sam about to jump out the window, Tom pulled the trigger immediately. In the chaos, Sam was hit, but he stumbled and fell out the window. Tom chased after him, and with his colleague's help, he slowly approached the small cabin behind. When he got closer, Sam was standing still, with blood all around him, clearly dead. Tom didn't expect that his blind shots would directly kill Sam. Soon, Wally arrived with people and found 13 kilograms of drugs in Sam's house. One of the packages was pierced by a bullet during the struggle. Wally quickly grabbed a roll of cartoon pattern tape from the house to patch the damage. Then he took everything back to the station for investigation. Tom also had to be investigated, though Sam resisted arrest first. But to rule out Tom being a dirty cop, he had to submit his firearm for inspection. During Tom's suspension, the police closed the case due to public pressure and claimed the killer had been shot dead. But Tom felt it wasn't that simple. First, there was no evidence directly proving Sam was the killer. Also, Sam didn't limp while walking, which didn't match the suspect description from witnesses. And the Chrysler Imperial, he still hadn't found it. Even though the case was closed, he couldn't feel happy. He was afraid he might have killed the wrong person. In his anxious state, Tom finally got his own investigation results. Tom was cleared of being a dirty cop. He had shot the suspect in time to protect his partner, and the department even gave him a medal. To celebrate Tom's return to duty, Wally threw a party at a villa. Halfway through, Tom complimented Wally's watch, and Wally immediately tried to give him the Rolex on his wrist. He also advised Tom to quit police work and join his security consulting firm, saying it was easier and paid more. Even though Wally's words were normal enough, Tom keenly sensed that Wally seemed to be trying to bribe him. Tom chose to avoid responding to Wally's repeated requests. The next day, Tom was at the bureau going through files while thinking about this murder case. At that moment, a photo suddenly fell out showing the marks on Summer's left hand. Tom quickly found the photo of the right hand and put the two photos together. That night when he got home, Tom used his wife to run an experiment. He confirmed that the marks on Summer's hand were bite marks left after she had been tied up. With this new discovery, Tom quickly showed the photos to Captain Allen. Although the case was officially closed, Tom insisted on using bite marks to uncover the truth. With the captain's permission, Tom went to the morgue and took an impression of Summer's ex-husband's teeth. Summer had been involved with her ex-husband, but she was stabbed to death after being tied up. Since the bite mark was made after she was tied up, it was likely left by the killer. If they could match the bite marks on her hand with Sam's, they'd know if the killer was someone else. But things didn't go as planned because the bite wasn't deep enough to see if it matched the dental mold. The new lead hit a dead end, leaving Tom's investigation at a standstill. He went home dejected, wondering if he'd been wrong when a news report on TV caught his attention. In a car accident, the police found 13 kilos of drugs in the trunk of the perpetrator's car. One of the packages was wrapped in cartoon pattern tape, and Tom recognized it. Eli was also watching the news, but his attention wasn't on the tape. It was on the driver. Just as Tom was falling asleep, he suddenly got a call from Will reporting an incident. When he arrived at Will's mom's house, the first officers on the scene had already finished the investigation. Strangely, the intruder didn't steal any money, and Will said nothing valuable was missing. But Tom didn't believe him. No thief would go through all that trouble and take nothing. Clearly, Will was deliberately hiding something. Tom drove home while thinking, and at the door he got a shock. His wife was standing in the yard wearing light clothes, holding a gun. And opposite her was Eli, who was under control. Tom quickly went up and handcuffed him, told his wife to go inside and get dressed, and kept watching Eli with the gun. Eli said he meant no harm and that the Will family were all liars. Besides their real estate business, they also had a company called Whitefish that was involved in scams. And the driver in the news was actually Will's henchman. Tom didn't contradict Eli, he had his own judgment. Soon, Eli was taken away by the police for trespassing. Then Tom noticed the USB drive Eli had left on the chair. Eli was the one who broke into Will's house, and the thing he stole was this USB. The USB contained real estate contracts. Strangely, after these houses were sold, they would be seized for suspected drug storage, then bought cheaply by Whitefish. One house, the Redgate Villa, listed 2 days ago, looked very familiar to Tom. It was the place where he and Wally had held a party. Seeing this, Tom realized how serious it was. He calmly got up with his laptop. He went to the bathroom and started recording the key information from the USB. It seems Summer's death was just the surface. This probably involved a bigger network likely connected to Wally. Tom followed the lead to the Narcotics Bureau and got the address of Redgate Villa. Then he went to the villa to check the surroundings and saw a for sale sign at the entrance. On the way back, Tom contacted a former colleague in Philadelphia and quickly found that Whitefish had long been dissolved. The company had used an email address which is now still used by a security consulting company. It seemed this murder case was indeed connected to Wally. Then Tom went straight to the evidence room to check the drugs seized in the car accident case. He confirmed this was the batch taken from Sam's house. He quickly asked a nearby officer where the seized items from Sam's house were, but the officer said Wally had taken and destroyed them. Tom also found out that on the day of the accident, the driver called a number ending in 3586 17 times. Tom called immediately, but no one answered. When Eli got home from the station, he saw Will sneaking in, saying he came to get his stuff.
Eli played dumb, asking what stuff, while pulling a knife behind his back, staying alert to Will.
As they were talking, a man suddenly walked in the door. The next day, Wally found Tom at the bureau, joking casually, but Tom knew Wally was testing him, so he didn't respond. He drove straight to Eli's house, but after a long time, there was no answer from Eli. It seemed Eli had been silenced, and the house left no traces. That evening, Tom and his wife went out to eat and coincidentally ran into Will's family. Will had a new girlfriend. It seemed he had another real estate agent. Out of courtesy, Tom went over to greet them, then left the restaurant with his wife. The next day, Tom waited at the villa for Will, who joked it was his first time showing a house to a cop. Then he went on to explain the layout of the house to Tom. Upstairs, Tom secretly took out his phone and dialed the number ending in 3586. Soon Will's phone rang, and Tom cautiously asked why he hadn't answered. Unexpectedly, Will pulled out a gun and shot Tom in the abdomen. Tom broke into a cold sweat, but fortunately, it was just a nightmare. Awakened, Tom couldn't sleep anymore and stayed awake until morning. The next day, Tom got dressed, hid the USB in his sock, and went with his wife to Captain Allen's birthday party. During the party, he deliberately avoided Wally and Wally. A narcotics officer quickly noticed. He came over and asked why Tom was avoiding him. Tom distractedly replied a few words, then went upstairs to find Allen. Just as he wanted to reveal the truth, and the USB Wally came up, and Tom had to put it away. After that, Tom never had a chance to be alone with Allen. Worried, he walked to the garage. Tom came looking for alcohol, but froze when he turned on the light. The spot where a boat used to be was now occupied by a car, the Chrysler Imperial he had been looking for. At that moment, Allen suddenly appeared, saying the car was being stored for someone else. Tom wanted to ask more, but Allen advised him not to get involved. It was obvious Captain Allen was involved, still covering for someone. For his wife's safety, Tom had to keep silent. On the way home that night, a police car followed them. Tom sensed the danger and put his gun under his leg before the inspection. They said it was just a routine check, and that they were ordered to escort them home. Things had come to this point, and his wife sensed the danger too. Back home, Tom told his wife the truth. Will's real estate company would keep hunting for agents. To control them, Will didn't care if they were single. He would make them his girlfriends. After selling the houses, they hid drugs in them and then had Wally inspect them. Then the houses would be seized legally, and Wally's company would buy them at low prices. The 6 houses Summer sold over 2 years were seized this way, so she got not a penny. Will thought his plan was foolproof, but Summer discovered the secret. That's why she called the FBI to report it. But she was killed before contacting the Narcotics Bureau. Will also knew about her contact with her ex-husband, and that they were secretly meeting in the house. So right after their meeting, he sent his henchman into the villa to kill Summer. The henchman called Will 17 times to confirm if Summer was dead. When Will returned home, Summer wasn't actually dead yet. As for Summer's ex-husband, he was just a set-up scapegoat. But no one expected the henchman to crash, exposing the drugs. At that moment, Allen called, asking Tom to come over at 9 the next morning for a talk. Tom agreed, but whether or not Captain Allen was coerced, he couldn't trust him anymore. Because if this matter wasn't resolved, Tom could pay with his life. So he met with the chief, handed over the USB, and explained everything. The chief was shocked after reading it, never expecting such a big secret behind the murder. The next day, the two of them went to Allen's house together. Allen was surprised to see them, but he let them in. As soon as the chief came in, he said he needed the bathroom while he was gone. Allen whispered for Tom to escape.
Get out of here. Gave them the drive. They know everything. He knows. It's over.
Realizing this, Tom pushed open the bathroom door. The chief tried to convince him to put down his gun while reaching for his waist. As he was about to resist, Tom shot him in the head. Hearing a gun chamber behind him, Tom spun around and saw Wally at the stairway. The two of them stood there in a standoff, neither daring to move. until a frisbee hit the glass outside, startling Wally. Taking advantage of his distraction, Tom fired several shots, then carefully walked over. Wally had lost the ability to resist, and Tom only had a pierced hand. Wally didn't want to go to jail and begged Tom to make it quick. But Tom didn't answer. He calmly dialed the police. All the people involved in the case were caught, and Will got the punishment he deserved. And that's where the movie ends. Follow me for more exciting content. See you next time.